Good morning. So today we're going to replace our hot water heater. It's been temperamental for the last couple of months, and so we've been saving up knowing we're going to have to replace it. So it's not that big of a deal, but it did finally go on an inconvenient day of the week. So we've been out without hot water for a couple of days now. Just a minor inconvenience for our first world lives. What happened was the bottom of it is starting to rot, and there was a very slight leak that was dripping down on the burner, and it was extinguishing the pilot light. So the last couple of months, as I was relighting things, I wasn't seeing any wet areas or any dripping, but the other day when it finally died completely, it came down, this whole floor was like wet underneath here, and we have a floating slab, so it didn't make that big of a mess. It just ran down on the edge of the slab. But I took this little port off to look inside there, and everything was soaking wet, and the burner's under there, so the water was basically, you know, keeping it from relighting. I already drained it, and now I'm going to cut some of the pipe up here. We have an old seeping pipe right here. This joint was seeping probably for years, and it never caused a problem, so I never fixed that either, but we are now. I'm going to cut the pipe here, get rid of all that old junk, get rid of this whole water heater, take this vent pipe apart right there. Be sure to shut the gas feed off and the water feed off before working on it. So far, what I did was take this drain pipe off of the bleeder valve, in case I need to reuse that. Undid the vent pipe here, that's just hanging there, and then cut this pipe here, that's the feed line, and then this pipe up here, cut it back to where there's good pipe to get rid of all of this junk here. And now I'm ready to undo this gas line. Just take apart this union here, and then I'll take this plumbing off in case I need to reuse that on the new one. All right, so I undid that union there, and then took all those gas plumbing fixtures off of that, and now we're ready to pull this tank out. All right, tank is out, as you can see behind me, and I'll do a little cleanup back there before installing the new one, but we got to run to the big box store down the street, pick up the heater and some pipe and some fittings, and then I'll show you how it's installed. All right, here's the new water heater. Exact swap out, all of the fittings are the same size, the vent pipe is the same size. This is a 50-gallon tank, the other one was a 48. This one's 10 inches taller. So taking some measurements, I'm gonna have to raise this up a little bit higher to clear everything so I can plumb it in good. And of course the box that this came in would not fit down through the doorway of the basement steps, so I kind of taped a piece of cardboard here from the box to make a little slide. So I'm working by myself today, and I would not suggest doing this by yourself, but sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do and make things work. So I made a little slide out of the cardboard to protect the tank, and I slowly slid it down the steps and walked it into the closet here. So we're good to go. All right, looking at the space I have to work with this expansion tank in place, to move this whole piece up to clear space under here for the taller water heater, I found I'm just going to cut it up here, because then I can put a shark bite fitting in and raise this up. Just has to go up a couple of inches, so that should be as easy as it gets with moving that out of the way. And I think we're good on the other piece of pipe. So yes, I might have to cut that one back a little bit just to line things up, but I already have my elbows and straight fittings and all that stuff. So let's get to it. And before we make that cut, we have to kill the water to the house, because there's water pressure right here in this pipe to this isolation valve. That's the valve that you shut off when you're working on your water heater. Water's gonna fly out of there if I make that cut. So kill the water of the house, and then all of the water in the lines up above us is going to want to flow back through here. So we will shut that valve off so it keeps it from coming down back into this pipe. And then we will drain this into a bucket. All right, I got that expansion tank out of the way, and it's still dripping a little bit, but I have things to do, so I don't feel like waiting. The way I got that tank up on those cinder blocks, I just laid that piece of cardboard back down, laid it on its side, lifted the end up on the cinder blocks, tipped it up in a place, and then spun it carefully to align to where I need it. So now I'm going to see if the plumbing I have off the old unit is enough to connect this gas supply line. That'll be first. So here's something you want to watch out for. They had a sticker over top of the gas inlet here, and you have to peel that off, obviously, to get to the threads here, but it doesn't come off easily. It sticks to everything around here. So as I'm peeling it off, like, little pieces potentially could fall back inside there, and I don't know if that would cause an issue. Obviously it would affect the gas flow. So you just want to be careful while you're peeling this tape off to make sure that no pieces go back into that hole, because that's where the gas goes. All right, here's what we got. All of this plumbing will work. This was the old fixtures from the old tank, so that will plumb to that, and that pipe will move over into place and align with that, but it's too short. So we're gonna have to go run back to the box store and get an 8-inch piece of black pipe to make up that difference. Then we'll take this pipe out, put this end of the union on the new pipe, and it'll meet up and work perfectly fine. When you're doing projects at home, there's going to be times where you're running to the hardware store like 2-3 times for one project. That's not uncommon. And like, for instance, I have to run now to go get another piece of black pipe just to tie in the gas plumbing for this water heater. And that's because I don't have an inventory of black pipe laying around my house. And this is actually the first water heater I've ever needed to replace in any house that I've lived in. So it's the first time I'm doing a project like this at my house. And I don't have all of the parts laying around ready to go. So it can get frustrating, but that's just something that should be expected. If you're doing jobs at your house to save money so you're not paying somebody else who's going to have parts with them, then those are the things that you're going to have to like learn to deal with. Everything always comes down to time and money. So if you have the time, you should learn how to do things to save money so you're not paying somebody else to do those things. Or if your time is too valuable to do those things, then hopefully you have the money to pay someone else to do them so you have your time to do other things. So time and money are always the keys to life. Time is everything, money is a tool, and you should never waste either of them. When I got to the hardware store, I decided to just buy a flex hose. Flex gas line, 1/2-inch fitting here, 1/2-inch fitting here. So I basically took that union out and all the other black piping, throw it away, junk. Just bought a 3/4 to 1/2-inch adapter to go to the 1/2-inch line, and then you're all set. Much easier. We're going to install this forced air vent to the top of the water heater now. So this wiring here just connects to that port right inside underneath, and then it sits right on top, overlaps that port there where the exhaust seams come out, and it's going to sit right on the top there. And it kind of fits right into place, so there is no movement. Once you know that it's in place, it'll kind of fit in one way only. When I first put it on there was a little bit of play, but then I moved it around and it kind of snapped down in place, so there's no movement now. And then it just comes with these self-tapping sheet metal screws that you just put into each little foot here along the side, and it screws it down to the top of the water heater. And then we'll have to do some customizing of the PVC pipe to tie that into this port, because now it's in a different location than where the old tank was. So we'll see if we have enough PVC to make that work, or else we'll be going back to the big box store to get some PVC. I also picked up this tank booster, which makes your hot water tank more efficient. So you can turn the temperature up on your tank hotter than 120. This here is a mixing valve that keeps the temperature at 120 going out to your house and your faucets and showers and things like that. And it connects your cold water to your hot water output. So this makes your temperature 120, mixing your cold water coming in and your hot water of the tank. It's going to increase the efficiency of your tank. So we'll see. Thought that was pretty neat. So we'll see how that works. All right, I got the water heater booster hooked up. This is the mixing valve here coming out of the hot side of the water heater. This is your cold side going into the water heater. And then I suspended that tank up here off this beam because it's fairly heavy. So your cold used to come here into the tank and then into the old water heater. But since this one is 10 inches taller, it gave me way less space to work with, especially with this vent having to come down through here yet. So I ran and got shark bite fittings, tapped the feed line back here, and ran it parallel right past where it used to come in, straight to the tank, and then down that side to feed. So it keeps that line out of the way. So now I have plenty of room to run the vent line from over here and down to this point, and that'll be that. I'm working on the vent pieces now, so got this piece cut already, and you want to dry fit everything before you glue anything. Make sure you have the right measurements and all the fittings are the right angles, everything else. So this piece is going to go into here, and then I already did a dry fit to eyeball connecting that end to that end. So take a little sandpaper. After you cut this, take a little sandpaper, clean that edge up, make sure there's no loose debris or anything like that, because that can mess with the joint. So I'll clean this up and keep connecting. All right, the dry fit is all done and vented out. So we will take it all back apart and then glue it together. And just make sure that you prime all of your pieces. All of your fittings should be primed. They sell these 2-packs here, the purple primer and the PVC cement. So do the purple primer on each end and then let it dry for a few minutes, and then you can glue it together. All right, we're ready to turn on the water to fill this tank and check these fittings, see if there's any leaks. I hear water, and I don't see leaks. Full pressure. No leaks. Alright, just plugged her in. We have venting and we have ignition. Looks hot in there. Pretty soon we'll have hot water again. Alright, we're all wrapped up with this water heater, so now I'm just going to show you the temperature test. When I first checked the tank, I had the temperature of the thermostat setting here all the way at low. And then burner stopped burning, checked the temperature of the tank, and it was around 105. So I turned it to hot and checked it again after the burner stopped burning, and it was about 120. So I turned it all the way up to very hot, and we'll see what the temperature is. So we're going to drain some water out of the drain valve here into a cup and check the temperature so we see what the temperature is inside the tank. And then we'll check the temperature at a faucet in the house. digital thermometer here, and we'll see what the temperature comes up. 145. Looks good to me. So we're going to keep the tank hotter than what we want at the faucets because we have the mixing valve installed on the top of this unit. So that mixing valve is going to regulate the temperature for us. Instead of keeping the tank at 120 degrees to the faucets, we're going to keep this hotter, and that's going to help run things more efficiently. And we're going to have hot water for longer periods of time with the mixing valve regulating things for us. All right, we're at the kitchen sink now, and I'm going to turn the water on and see how hot it is. I already ran it for a couple of minutes, so it's should be good and hot right now. And we got 118. See if it goes up any higher. Within a couple of degrees, you're good, as long as you got around 120 coming out of your faucet. So that's what you want. 118.9. Looks good to me. I always put the date of install on any appliance that I install. It helps the next guy who's going to be working on it know how long it's been in place. And the heat guard tank booster, that's the mixing valve that I added to this one. That came with its own sticker, so I slapped that on the tank with the information on it, so the next guy knows that there's something added to this tank. And then all the warranty information and instruction manual is in a sealed Ziploc bag right here on the unit, so anybody can reference that. And we're good to go. All right, there you have it. Water heater installed, temperatures check out good. Overall, the cost was about $1,300. By the time you buy the water heater, the fittings, I added in the mixing valve so it runs more efficiently. If there's a lot of people getting showers, or you're washing clothes and washing dishes all at the same time, you're going to extend how much time you have hot water for. So the mixing valve is good if you have, family of 5 like we do, and you have multiple things using hot water all at the same time. That mixing valve will help make things a little bit more efficient. So a couple trips to the hardware store, always plan on unintended things while you're doing projects like this, but overall it was fairly easy. Took about an entire day, bled into the next day a little bit with testing things, but takes a while once you turn your water back on for the heater to actually heat all of that water up all at the same time. So it's a 50-gallon tank. So we had to wait about an hour for the burner to heat all that water to running temperature. So, but overall, fairly easy. First water heater I ever replaced, and no complaints from me. I'd do it again when the time's right. This water heater has a 6-year warranty, and we're intending on not living here beyond that. So hopefully I don't have to replace this one ever again. Last tag.